Okay, so here we are. Welcome to Module 7, Part 3. So primarily this module, to some extent, there will be some recap that we have done in the beginning. How do we do some small type of analysis and other things. And also we will be seeing two major sections. One is related to key influences and another one is related to decomposition tree. So these two we will be discussing in this module. Short module, but interactive as well as demonstrative, and you will see the actual fun of visualization, how to analyze data. From the perspective of analysis of data, we will be looking into it. So here we are, super excited to present you this part 3 of module 7, performing advanced analytics. So the first thing that we are going to see over here is identifying the outliers. So let's take an example of the existing data that we have already looked into, the date and all, statistical analysis, everything. So here, if you go to this particular section like smart analysis, so here you will see that the data is organized. When we started off this analysis, it was something like this. So we said that there were some inferences that were coming into our mind that could be that 1996 we had less volume of revenue, then 1997 was a very good year, and 1998 relatively less. But when we actually went inside this data, our perception changed. So we saw that we are starting our journey of data only from the second half of a year. How can I do apple to apple comparison? So we call it as like for like or apple to apple comparison. So you cannot compare 1 year of data of 1997 with 6 months of data of 1996. That cannot be taken care of. That cannot be done. Okay. So here what happens is, majorly speaking, most of the cases you will find that the data comes as a segment wherein you can apply all the types of analysis directly on a chart. And here we are talking about a special AI based insight inside the chart. So let's take an example. If I just may take a snip of this particular data, and I will explain you what is happening over here. So you can see there is a cyclic data. So there's a time series kind of thing which is happening over here. So you can see it is eventually increasing, but there is a pattern. But suddenly when you come to this particular section, you see that the pattern is somewhat different. I'm not saying that there is no pattern, but there is some difference in the pattern. So this region of data is not matching with this trend, the time series that we are seeing over here, eventually increasing over time. So there is a pattern over there. So if this pattern is not there, then it is very difficult for us to actually predict the inferences that we are talking about, right? So prediction will become a difficult task. So then what happens is we take help of Power BI to understand this spike and understand this crest and troughs and all these things. So we say, I say no, I'm not saving this, and I want to understand it from the perspective of Power BI. So usually what happens when you discover these analysis, this kind of patterns, you take it to a PowerPoint and then try to explain it in a board meeting. But here Power BI is saying that before even going to the board meeting, I can give you some live results. So many people ask me that these results or the insights that you are talking about, can we take a printout or a screenshot and then do it? Deliberately, I will tell you, Microsoft has not given these parameters or these particular features to work I mean, taking a snapshot or something, because these are all live phenomenon. End of the day, you have to take action based on a data directly. I mean, not stale data I'm talking about. So analysis has to be live always. I'm discussing with my colleagues or my team, and I need to analyze them that point of time, not before and not after. So that is why these analysis capabilities, the AI based analysis capabilities, are given directly with the visual. So let's have a look at this. So let's take an example. There was a big spike over here from 19K to 10K. So we can see it over here. Now we wanted to see the what is the reason of this particular downfall. So around 9K from 19 to 10. So I right click on this 10K, which is in the lower side, and then we say that, is it possible to analyze this data? So analyze, and then it says that not only I can analyze, but I can help you to explain the decrease. I mean, why it might have happened from 19 to 10, that I can try to explain and say, explain the decrease. And it searches. This is the AI engine I'm talking about. So then it says that there was a 44.6% decrease in the total revenue from Q1 of January to Q1 of February. And this was majorly due to the revenue loss from US, Germany, and Belgium. And so though Ireland gave us good revenue, but the other countries did not perform so well. That's why we saw a dip. And we keep moving down, and then we see that, okay, is there any other trend that we are looking into? So I see that, okay, the grains and cereals did the maximum hit, and you can see that most of the products were in the downward trend. Then we can go down and actually see maybe the customers also, the places, the suppliers, wherein we have seen some downfalls, and we can see that the most affected day was Tuesday. So though we did some kind of growth of business in terms of Wednesday and Thursday, but Friday and Tuesday were the badly hit. So much of intuitive report and insights you are getting just by right clicking on a particular chart. So people ask me, can I take a screenshot or can I take a save and something? I say that's not the fundamental purpose of working on this. So the idea is to discuss this in a meeting and then take actions. Taking the screenshots, how it will help, right? But anyway, it is not available, not possible. Similar thing happens over here, 11 to 19K. So one we saw the decrease and one we saw the increase. So then what happens is it is showing that in quarter there were different spikes. But if you talk about the country wise, so US showed the highest increase and followed by Germany. So if you remember, in terms of the decrease also, US and Germany showed just the opposite trend. I mean, similar kind of trend. So US and Germany. So we can come to a conclusion saying that the reason for this, I mean, you can say that US, Germany and Belgium are the top movers in terms of getting revenue or moving out of the revenue. So that's how it works out. So most of the cases you will see that these kind of inferences you have to calculate and then crunch it in Excel and then find out the numbers and all, so many things. Here you can see that it is ready-made. So you just need to see that at the top 73.62% increase, and this increase is explained by this. So much of AI insights you can just get by clicking on a particular chart. This is one kind of analysis. There is one more kind of analysis what we can show over here, which I will be just taking a duplicate of this. And also this is my favorite analysis, ribbon analysis. So Ribbon analysis also includes some kind of AI powered inferences, but at a lower level. Let's see that. So we have this ribbon chart, which is a very, very important chart. So back to back, we will be seeing around 2-3 charts right now, which will talk about the different types of inferences that are possible from your data given this reports. So this is now ribbon chart. Very simple. What we do is we take month as the axis and we take revenue. So immediately you can see from January to December, so revenue details are coming. So you might say that, okay, this looks like a very simple, similar kind of, chart that we usually see. So now what we do is we say that, okay, it is actually not that same kind of visual. The thing changes, this concept changes, the parameters changes the moment we take up the next dimension. The 2 dimensions are there. I'm talking about the 3rd dimension. The moment we take the 3rd dimension. What is the 3rd dimension? Let's have a look at it. So we see that, okay, we have the, the legend details and we want to bring something to the legend. So we wanted to just say that, can I bring the categorical data? So I bring in the category and bring it to legend. Usually what we do is we also bring in the data labels so that I am able to showcase the entire data pattern over here. So this is the entire data pattern. If you notice over here that all the items, the categories are displayed month on month, how it is moving up. And if I just take condiments, I can see how the growth of condiments. So you can see that condiments were almost same throughout the year. They do not have any as such big pattern to discuss. And the most prominent demand that we see is in the month of April. Otherwise, condiments are not in demands. We then go to dairy products and see that dairy product is very, very fluctuating. And you can see that in summers, people don't prefer to buy dairy products. And one of the reasons is because it will melt very fast. That is the reason, maybe. So the like is a bit low. And you can see if you go towards the winter seasons, and that has a good spike over there as well. So you can see that the data is actually speaking for itself. Right? We don't have to do anything apart from the understanding of the data. If you talk about seafood, there is a growth pattern. There is a cyclic pattern. If you see from January to June, there is a pattern and then it again goes. So if you want to derive a time series or a forecasting kind of thing, you can make, you can see there is a cyclic effect. You can work on it. Now the most important section over here. So how does this work? So if you talk about beverages, on the other hand, you can see that beverages have taken almost the first position in 4-5 months. Half of the month it is almost at the top, and other months are also in a good position, second position or something like this. Sparing 1 or 2 months, which is September and November, where we do not see much of movement. Now, if you just locate at this particular thing, this is something very interesting. So unless and until I took my cursor to this part, the AI insight was actually not visible. So now it says that from April to May, though there was a dip in only one rank, but the actual dip was almost by 47%. So from 6,000 it has gone to 3,000. So much of dip you can see. And the ribbon chart is the ideal chart for showing this thing. The moment you take the cursor, it will show these are the orders. You can put so many details in this tooltip as well. But if you just go to the other ones, you can see how the dips were there, right? Similarly, if you just go to September and October, this is just the reverse case. It shows that we had a jump of around 213% in terms of revenue, and that helped beverages to move from the 5th position to the 1st rank, a jump of almost around 4 points in terms of revenue. So many a times what happens is that when you just look at the data from a broader perspective, it might not give you a good insight. So when you go deeper into the data, try to drill down, try to focus, try to just put some insight on top of a particular chart, is when you get more and more insights. We will do the same thing in our further studies also as we proceed. So the next analysis that we are going to try, so after the ribbon analysis, we will be doing back-to-back 3 analysis right away. So the second analysis, and before moving to the next analysis, I would like to showcase how we can perform the time series as well. So the forecasting. So forecasting, it's very simple. What we can do is we need to just place a line chart. Usually we place a line chart, and then what we do is we take in the axis, and we need to have a good number of data points. So we take the cal date, which is a good number, and then we convert it into a date. We don't want the hierarchy. And then what we do is we take up the revenue as the value. So we can see that there is a good data details over here. Something like this. Now this is an ideal example of understanding a data pattern. First of all, you see that there is, because we are seeing it day by day. So day by day we are seeing over here. So the most important thing is, we don't want any kind of tooltip over here. So let's move off the tooltip because sometimes it might not be required so much. So then what happens is you go to this particular section, and then you see that, okay, out of the entire set of data from 1996 to 1998, the company has seen spike in almost around 8 to 10 instances. So if you talk about let's say 2 years, or let's say talking about 1,000 days of data that we have got, maybe, right? So, okay, not 1,000 days, maybe 600 data points we have. We can count it at any point of time. So then what happens is, out of 600 data points, we see that we have around 6 spikes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 spikes are there, which means that out of 600, 6 means even 0.1. So you can just call it. So that can be recognized as a spike, because if it was, let's say, 20% time you have this spike, then you cannot consider it as a spike. So it's a pattern, you can say, analysis pattern. Anyways, if this is the number of data points, what we can do is we can go to the analytics of this, and then we can find out the trend. And you can see that there is a trend which is visible over here. We can make it of a different color so that we can see it properly. We can make it solid or dotted, and all these things we can do. Combine the series and all these things. But then there is an option over here which talks about the forecast of this data. This is the most important part. So now you can say that I can showcase the forecasting also. So forecasting, in the sense, I am able to see the forecasted trend for, let's say, so now this is the part. So usually the confidence interval is 95%. So there is a, if you talk confidence percentage, means it is related to the external factors. And we say that external factors, let's consider in next 2 years or last 2 years, have not changed significantly. I'll just give you an example of GDP. So within 1 or 2 years, things will not change drastically to 50% change, right? So it will be hardly 2%, 3%, 5%. So the confidence interval, we call it as, let's say, that part, the the variable part, I mean, what has changed, the external factors, 95%. And then we say that how many data points we want to forecast. So it says that, okay, I have 500 data points. I can give you a forecasting of next 10 data points. If you just increase this, the more you increase, so you can see, so this is how it will keep on growing. So if you just make it bigger, so you can see that it was able to understand that there might be some spikes coming up in the next based on whatever the last spikes that it has found in last 2-3 years. Bear in mind that this data is not complete. So we have started from July 1996. 1997 July we had, so every data point has only 2 consecutive months and years, we can say. That is not enough for any kind of analysis. We need at least of 5 to 6 years of data to see the cycle and the pattern, and then only that forecasting will give you better results. But this is just for an understanding that, okay, based on past data, do we see any movement in the current data? That's it. So now based on, so this is one example that we wanted to showcase in terms of forecasting. The next example that we would like to take over here would be related to key influencers. And then what we will do is we will take the final one, which is related to, this is the most important part. This is related to the decomposition. These are pretty much new topics, and you will find only in this modules, and I will keep on bringing new topics to this particular domain. So Power BI, and believe me, I'm telling you, there could be several hundreds of other topics which is there as a part of Power BI. So if some advanced topics are there, maybe mQuery and language understanding are there. But believe me, what I am talking in this 7-8 modules will enable you to work in a workplace, and it will cover 80% of your day-to-day tasks. There are nothing else than these things in regular data analysis that we do. Several topics, several things have been covered during this. I mean, I'm saying that, okay, it should not get confused. So the capabilities are there. It should not get confused. So I might be giving you some hints and exercises, other things also. So we will talk about that shortly. But here, majorly, it will be derived from the perspective of applying it directly to your work location. That's the purpose that we are trying to focus. We go to key influencers, very simple 2 examples, but both of them are important. So one is the key influencer. We get the key influencers in place. And we say that, okay, key influencers and decomposition, they both go almost hand in hand. So both of them say that, okay, what do you want to explain and how you want to explain? So you say that, okay, I want to explain my total revenue. So can you analyze my total revenue? And then it says that, okay, can you just analyze it based on, let's say, product? So I give the product name. So I say analyze product name. And then it is saying that, okay, I'm trying to analyze, but I'm not getting any output. So I say, okay, fine, not getting any product name. So out of product name, so can I just see it by customer something? So you can see the customer name. So you can say analyze it by customer name. So it gives me some analysis. And further what I do is I go for this product name also. So the more data points you have, the better could be your analysis. So let's say if you see that even if I remove, I don't get any kind of different analysis over here. Maybe the supplier can give me some insights, but let's see. So it is also not giving me any analysis. So now it is showing that product and customer. So it says that, so let's see how to read this. So it says that what influences revenue to increase. So if the customer is Save-A-Lot's market, then there is an average increment in your revenue by $389. So you can see how this is done. I'll give you a very simple example. So you can see on the one hand, it captures these details of customer name. All your customer names are here. And at one end, it is showing the average of the revenue that is being incurred over here. So mostly, if you just notice over here, there is an average line and there is something which is above the average line. It is just picking up the numbers, the major numbers, which are above the average line, which are anomalies kind of thing, and then putting it over here. So you can see 389. So here is more than average, it is 389. This is the gap that it is talking about. And then if you talk about Ernst Handel, so this is the data. And if you talk about quick stops, this is the data. So they all are in the range of 318, 80, 20, 29. So they are in all this range. And this number that you are seeing is the gap from this dotted line to this particular point. Similarly, if you just now make it opposite. So you say that what is giving me an increase, I just say opposite of it. What is making me decrease? Go decrease in terms of the revenue. So I say decrease, and you see there are multiple factors or multiple components which are giving me this decrease. So you can say that the customer, if it is like this, then there is a dip. So if you talk about a customer called Pine Restaurant, so you can see, so it does what? It captures till the average part. So you can see it goes till the average part. So you can see over here. And if you just go towards the right side, you can see it captures the bottom and the top 80-20 kind of a principle it applies, and then it gives you this understanding of the data. This is key influencer. So many a times you will find that if you have, I have very less amount of data. When you go to your own data points, so what will happen is this can be a phenomenon, example, if you might say, to give in terms of the more data you have to explain, so that better it would be, right? I have chosen just product and customer name. Now comes again an important section, which is the decomposition analysis. It goes just hand in hand. Just with the key influences, we have the decomposition analysis. And believe me, both of them take similar kind of inputs. So here also you need to just say analyze what? I say analyze my revenue. So I say analyze my revenue. So it says analyze revenue. So the revenue comes over here. Now it says on what basis you want to analyze this revenue. So I say that, okay, can I just see it based on product category, please? So product category name, and it explains it by product category. You click over in this plus sign, and then you can just click on this category name and it will explode like this. So now we have the total revenue divided into the 7-8 categories that we have. Now I want to go further. So that's the purpose of decomposition. So from one point to another, to another, to another, to another, it decomposes this particular data. And then what happens is you just go to the next option. So after category, you say that, okay, I wanted to see the supplier. So maybe a different type of data, supplier name. So I bring in the supplier name, and now I just bring in over here, and I can see the suppliers of that particular category called dairy products. Then I say that, okay, with the supplier name, I want to go one step further. Can I just have a look at the products? So maybe I will just take the products. So it depends on the hierarchy of data that you are maintaining. So suppose for me, I am just taking the product name. So I'm getting the product name over here. And then what happens is I go and say that, okay, which country I am placing this. So I say ship country. I can actually bring in the ship country in between and then go for the product. It's like very flexible. And now you can see it over here. Just a moment. Let me just remove the tooltip. product name. So from the total revenue, now we have come to the product name also. So to this particular thing. So suppose if you say that, okay, no, I want the customer in between of this, let's say. So I can bring in the customer. So you can see the customer name. So with the supplier name, the SIP country, and I say customer name, and that also can be taken care of. So you can see the complete chain in the decomposition analysis, starting from the total revenue, break it down, categorical, supplier, country, customer, product, and everything, and then it goes to that particular level where you can decompose it. The best part is, so suppose if you just want to understand it from the dairy products cooperative part, so you can immediately see cooperative, the highest revenue we are getting from Austria, and in Austria the highest revenue is from Ernst Handel, and then these are the products that this particular customer is buying. So at one glance you can see the movement of your product. So you know the hierarchy within your organization, how is the data moving. You place the data like this, same way, and you will see how it works. It's an amazing tool, amazing feature of Power BI to actually showcase the data in a hierarchical manner, right? And then, I mean, there are many features and options. We can just put the data bars, and if you can just go for the data labels, and all these things can be handled. Even conditional formatting can be handled over here, right? So you can see the conditional formatting. You can just put some advanced controls and other things to get the details and data. You can just go for the AI splits of absolute or as in terms of relative. So all these details can be now seen as a part of your decomposition analysis. So it might look something like this when it becomes a complete data set to analyze. So all these advanced analysis we have seen here, time series, dimensional, and then decomposition. So all these, how to take these insights into the dashboards and robots. So these all things we have seen, and then we saw that how we can take this AI insights from cloud to organize the dashboard. I mean, by now you have got all the insights over here. So if I may just go to the insights. So we can just go to this data, and so you can see quick insights. So you should be able to view the insights over here now. So this is the same insight that we have seen, and then based on the requirement, based on whatever data points you want from this details, you can just bring in. So suppose this is a kind of an outlier, so number of orders that you are getting, and maybe you can see there is a change in units in order and the reorder level. So you can just put it in your logistic dashboard and something like this. So many observations you can bring in. So maybe you can see there's a correlation between the customers, and then you can see that there is a categorical details based on the surface. Surface means surface mode I'm talking about. So that is also one of the cases which is not attached. So I can just go to the dashboard now, and I can see all these phenomena over here. I can arrange this to be displayed within a data like this. The best part is that apart from this dashboard, you can also arrange the Q&A factors also. So suppose if you just ask the question, show total Munafa by products and there you say not show total Munafa, you can say top 10. So I mean right, so it just gives you, instead of total you can just say top 10 Munafa by products, and it is giving you. So instead of top 10 you can just say that I need the top 5, so it should give you the top 5 or top 10 or whatever. So based on this requirement, so I wanted to do this. So what happens is, now you get a product and then you like this visual. What you can do is you can just say pin visual and you can pin it. So what happens is, directly from the data Q&A also you can bring this to your live to the dashboard that you have prepared. So you can see it is getting picked over here. So this is how the journey from a dashboard, from a Power BI report to a dashboard works. So there is just one more example that we will be just taking up as a part of this demo, and this will be the use of network chart. So this is something very interesting, and you will see similar kind of observations. So you now know from a particular report how to take it to the cloud and the dashboards and all these things. Now you will see the work of network chart. This goes very well with this data. So ideally it should directly okay, so ideally it should just go directly. So maybe what we will do is we will have to come back to that particular worked files. So we have the data analysis. So you can see not much of difference from the previous file, which was related to your data visuals and the data analysis that we have associated. Not much of difference in these two, but ideally we should be able to see both the factors over here. So most of the cases, the data that we bring in and the reports that we develop, they all go hand in hand in terms of, I mean, the dimensions and the facts and the factors that we put in terms of showcasing all the data over here. So let me just bring in the network chart. So we are back with the network chart. So I had to re-log in, so it's fine. So we will just search for something called force directed chart. So anyway, it understood what I am talking about, and we get the network chart right here. So there are many such instances, there are many such charts that we have around Power BI's fraternity, or let's say the area that I mean we can discuss about and we can talk about. So there are many such charts. So network chart is one of them. So I will just put it short in a nutshell what it is all about. So what you need to do is you just take up the entire sheet. So the bigger the chart location, the better is your understanding. So you can now see that these are all, it looks like PowerPoint slides, right? Something like this. So it all talks about the source and the target. So you say that, okay, I have my product categories. So I have my product categories as a source, and I have my suppliers as the target. So instantly you can see that some chart comes up. I will tell you how to decode this particular chart. These are the things that you will not get in all types of courses or something. These are specialized things only you will get when somebody has gone through projects and several meetings and board meetings, and then what is the requirement, and then understood, and then delivering the best of the articles out over here. So anyways, I have also learned from somewhere. Definitely somebody is teaching, but I try to make it as comprehensive as possible and as simple as possible. That's the target, that's the USP that I focus on. So we say that, okay, I bring in the weight part of it so that I can showcase that, okay, what is happening in this particular chart. So now just at a glance, you will be able to understand that these are my dairy products. So dairy product suppliers. So you can see Cooperative and Gai Patura and dairy, this Norske May. So they are my dairy product suppliers. Strange to see that these suppliers do not supply any one of these products. How much time did I take to get this inference? Otherwise, you would have done so much of analysis to find out. This one I just did it in minutes. Now what happens is, most of the cases you will find out that I'm not only talking from the dairy product or something like that perspective, I'm talking from the other perspectives also. If you just talk from the beverage part, so you can see that most of the suppliers who are supplying beverage are supplying other things also. Or if you talk about a supplier, particularly let's say Pavlova, you can see that this supplier is supplying most of the items except for dairy products. So, and let's say for the grains and cereals. So it is supplying most of the things over here. So this particular chart has the capability to analyze a big sort of data and then put it in a visual format in such a way that it is easy to understand the patterns actually. So this is all about the patterns of the data that you look forward to. So mainly the AI insights from the cloud, and we have seen in the logistic dashboard how it works, how to capture those things. So this was actually the part that we wanted to discuss in this particular module. So majorly from the perspective of statistical summary, we discussed top-end analysis. This was one of the factors, and then we saw some examples of play access, and all these things have been shared with you as a worked file in this entire folder. You have to just search for those files and then access them. And then we have the Q&A, which is also how to train the model of the Q&A. Those also things we have checked. And then finally the quick insights, how it works and how to incorporate it within a dashboard. So many things we have seen in module 7. This all talks about the patterns. We have talked about completely on patterns, how to analyze, and that brings us to the end of module number 7. Module number 8 is again an interesting module wherein we will see how to deploy these all data and how to maintain the deliverables. So deploying is like not only publishing, but there are some other factors also. So we'll see, we will deploy all these PBIX files, and then we will see how the cloud works in terms of managing this data, right? How the framework works over there. That will be module number 8, which is the final module of this entire course. After that, there will be capstones and assignments. And the most important part, as I have already discussed in the beginning, I will be sharing the knowledge and insights regarding the interview questions, which is the most important and the primary thing in the hit list, we can say, out of this particular course, to empower you to face the corporate world and the corporate, and I have given numerous, thousands and thousands of trainings and workshops. So I bring in all these into a nutshell and then bring it to you so that you can take advantage of this and then move ahead in your life, in your initiatives. Okay, that's it from this particular module. See you in module 8. Thank you.